Swarm tells the story of a young woman obsessed with a pop star, part of the swarm of superfans. Imagine an anti-hero character with the messiness of someone like Mad Men's Don Draper, mixed with a little bit of Tony Soprano, but told through the lens of a modern black woman. That's Dominique Fishback's character, according to some, named Dre. And joining Dominique in the studio today is the co-creator and showrunner of Swarm, Janine Nabers. Welcome. We got playwrights in the house.
Yeah,
give it up, playwrights.
Yes.
Playwright, theater cred,
Playwright.
and now moving on up to Swarm, TV shows debuting. Congrats.
Thank you, thank you.
I was telling Dominique she's got to get security because she's going to be famous after the show drops.
This is very true, very true. I knew her when.
Yeah, you knew her when. All right, now check this out, Janine. You have said the following. Your episodes begin with a disclaimer that read, quote, "This is not a work of fiction. Any similarity to actual persons, living or dead, or actual events is intentional." Great way to mess with our heads. What do you mean by that?
Well, this story is based off of true events. You know, we put our main character, Dre, at the center of many different events, internet rumors, news stories that have populated our cycle and culture. You know, and so that was something that we really wanted to do. Donald and I talked about this idea of post-truth. You know, when you look at Fargo, for example, which is a show that we both really love, it kind of starts that way too, with that a disclaimer that's kind of cheeky.
Yeah, based on an actual true story, and you're like, really, is it?
Yeah. Well, this is definitely our own version of a world that exists in bits and pieces, and we put it all together and put this wonderful woman at the center of it.
And real quick, the show, it's about a super fan, and loves this pop star, Nija, and goes to questionable and interesting lengths to meet her. How would you explain the character that you're playing, right? Because not a villain, not a hero. We root for her, but at the same time, we're like, yo, I don't think you should do this.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty biased in that way. Just as an actor, you don't want to judge your character. You want to clear any judgment so that you can authentically tell a story and be a clear vessel. So I think that she's a character that is full of love and pain.
Yeah.
And I don't think that she had the support to process the grief and trauma that she had in her life. And they say there's a thin line between love and hate. So I think she just teeters and then ends up spilling over.
In sometimes dramatic ways, without giving too many spoilers. In real life, as you know, this exists in a universe which is asymptotic to the real life. In real life, we have Swifties, we got monsters, right? We have super fans. And while you're making the show, it's a reflection of that, but also a commentary of where we're on this post-truth society. Is there a comment here where you're saying, listen, you could be a fan, but these are the risks of making this the central part of your identity? Like, this is when it gets too far.
I think there's always space for people to intellectualize stories. You know, I wrote on Atlanta for 2 seasons. I think a lot of people, we've heard that people like study that in classes, you know. So obviously, yeah, you can intellectualize it, but I think at the end of the day, it really is, we wanted to look at just stuff we haven't seen before on TV. You know, I co-created this show with someone who is an icon in his own right. He's a musician. He has a swarm around him of people that take ownership of him. So he came at this from a very personal level. He pitched this idea to me, and I ran with it. And I think, you know, at the end of the day, we really we want to tell a story about a black woman that has fallen through the cracks of a story of her within her own life. Obviously, there are things online that have inspired the story, but you know, Dre exists as our own weird anti-hero of a story we've never seen before.
That's right, and from this perspective, it's layered. It's hard to pinpoint in a genre.
Right.
There's humor, there's music, there's violence,
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah.
It's like, and this is a compliment, it's like it lives in the Atlanta tonal universe to me, and that is my compliment to all of you. And as we leave, and I predict that you're going to become a big star,
Thank you.
Dominique.
Thank you.
you got to tell us the story about how you got this role.
Yeah, so the story, well, make a long story short, I got a call saying that Donald had a project with Janine and that they wanted me to be a part of it. They told me to watch this movie called The Piano Teacher. I don't know if you ever saw it, but it was crazy. And it really made me it really made me consider the type of actor that I thought I was, or if I was brave enough to do something like Isabel would do in that movie. But then they told me it's not that, it's different. It's this. And I was like, oh, that's scary too. So I had to decide what kind of artist I wanted to be, and I decided I wanted to be a brave one. But they told me that originally that they wanted me to play Marissa. And I was like, oh. And I read the script, and I really, really wanted to play Dre. I never want to catch up to myself as an actor. I don't even want to know what I'm going to do next. And that's pretty much what I told Donald when he said, oh, tell me what you're thinking. And once I said that, he was like, well, if that's the role you want, that's the role you get. And I was like, wait, is he? I was like, did I hear him right?
Excuse me, Donald. I believe I should be the protagonist. I was born to play this role. And Donald's like, all right.
Yeah, and that was kind of a similar approach that they had on set too about it. Like the show has such a specific tone, and you think they might be meticulous about everything, but they really weren't. I was like, is she this? Is she that? They're like, no, she's none of those things. I'm like, okay. Looking for something, and they kind of just really let me portray the character and then add on to that and adjust and direct.
It's a lean-in moment. It's a flex moment. It's a mic drop moment for you. Dominique leaned in. She flexed. She goes, I got this. And they said, yeah, you got this. Yeah. And now you're Dre, the star of Swarm. It's coming out. Saw the first episode. I got all the feels. I wish you all the best.
Oh, thank you.
And may your fans be lovely and supportive.
Yeah.
Swarm premieres March 17th on Prime Video, and you can find our complete schedule of interviews on our website at sxsw.com/studio. Our studio interviews are also live streaming during the conference on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/sxsw. I'm your host, Wajahat Ali. Thanks for watching.